The mentality that separates the rich from the poor. As the sun slowly disappeared behind the trees, an old man and his son sat quietly outside their small house. The walls were worn. The ground was dusty. The night air was calm. Nothing about the scene suggested wealth. But what was shared that evening was richer than money. The old man believed something most people never learn. That poverty is not only about empty pockets. Sometimes it lives quietly inside the mind. He had watched people work endlessly, wake before sunrise, sleep long after sunset. Yet their lives never changed. Not because they were lazy, not because they lacked strength, but because they were trapped in a way of thinking they never questioned. The old man explained that the poor mentality often begins with survival. It asks only one question: how do I get through today? There is nothing wrong with survival. But when survival becomes the destination, growth becomes impossible. The rich mentality, he said, thinks differently. It asks, how do I build tomorrow? Same world, same opportunities, different mindset. The poor mentality looks at money and asks how quickly it can be spent. The rich mentality looks at money and asks how long it can grow. This difference seems small, but over time, it becomes the distance between struggle and freedom. The old man spoke about hard work, a word many people worship. He said hard work is important, but hard work without direction is like running in circles. You move, you sweat, you suffer, but you never arrive. Many poor-minded people are very hardworking. They work with their hands, with their backs, with their time. But rich-minded people, he said, also work with their minds. They plan, they study, they observe. They ask questions others are too busy to ask. The old man explained that poor mentality often trades time for money. 1 hour, 1 day, 1 month. When time is gone, income stops. But rich mentality looks for ways to separate income from time. They build systems, skills, assets. Not overnight, not magically, but patiently. Then the old man became quiet. His voice lowered. He spoke about fear. Fear, he said, is the most expensive emotion in the world. Fear of starting. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Poor mentality allows fear to make decisions. It waits. It delays. It hesitates. Rich mentality feels fear too. But it acts anyway. It understands that mistakes are not enemies. They are teachers. The old man said poor mentality avoids failure, but rich mentality studies failure. Every mistake becomes information. Every loss becomes a lesson. He spoke about blame. How easy it is to blame the government, the economy, the village, the family. Poor mentality finds comfort in blame, because blame removes responsibility. But rich mentality accepts responsibility, even when it is painful, even when it feels unfair, because responsibility is power. The old man explained that once you take responsibility, you gain control. Control over choices, over habits, over direction. Then he spoke about comfort. Poor mentality seeks comfort now. Easy pleasure. Quick enjoyment. Spend today. Worry tomorrow. Rich mentality delays pleasure. It chooses discipline. Not because discipline is enjoyable, but because freedom is. The old man said many people fail here because comfort feels like happiness. But comfort is temporary. Discipline is painful now, but rewarding later. He spoke about learning. Poor mentality stops learning early. It says, I know enough. Rich mentality becomes a student for life. Books, mentors, experience. Learning becomes a daily habit, not a phase. The old man talked about environment. How your surroundings shape your thinking. Even when you are unaware. Poor mentality follows the crowd. It fears standing alone. Rich mentality chooses its circle carefully. Because the people you listen to become the voice in your head. He explained that many dreams die. Not because they were impossible, but because they were surrounded by doubt. The old man shared his own past. How he once complained. How he once blamed everyone. Until someone told him a simple truth. If you want a different life, you must think differently. That sentence stayed with him. He began to change what he listened to, what he believed, what he expected from himself. Slowly, his life changed. Not overnight. Not dramatically. But steadily. The old man explained that rich mentality thinks long-term. Years ahead. Decades ahead. Poor mentality thinks short-term. Immediate relief. The difference, he said, is patience. Patience is rare, but powerful. As the night deepened, the boy listened silently. The house was still small. The future still uncertain. But something inside him had shifted. The old man ended with one final truth. Wealth begins in the mind. Before it reaches the hand. Before it touches the bank. Before it changes the world. And when the mind changes, everything else eventually follows. That night, nothing around them changed. But the boy would never think the same again. Ending CTA, narrator. If this story challenged how you think, subscribe now. Because the next lesson may be the one that changes your future forever. If you want next, Part 2, How to Train a Rich Mentality Daily. Part 3, Habits that Keep People Poor. Part 4, From Survival to Freedom.